Welcome to the Dan Sports Tips MLB preview show for today, the 2nd of July. Fairly average night last night, thank God for the Detroit Tigers. We're sitting around 60 points up on the season. Full slate of games today. I am going to be diving straight in. I'm going to start with St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. We need to hope the weather forecast is wrong here, because if the forecast deluge comes as predicted, we are going to miss out on what looks a very good opportunity, as the Cardinals and Adam Wainwright are due to face the Brewers and Jimmy Nelson. Nelson is a pitcher who I've been waiting all season for his numbers to adjust closer to the level that his performance on the metrics suggested they should be, and he's begun to do so in fairly staggering fashion recently, with an ERA of 5.87 across 5 starts in June and 2 performances where he allowed 6 runs on the road at Philly and San Francisco. He has also experienced struggles against these Cardinals, going 0-5 with a 9.51 ERA in his career against St. Louis. That ERA spikes over 11 in games at Busch Stadium. Adam Wainwright does come into this game off a poor start, allowing 6 runs in the first 2 innings, but he settled down after that without allowing another run on his last trip to the hill. Wainwright started slowly this year. He's improved month by month. He isn't all the way back to the dominant pitcher that we know he can be, but he does have a history of success against the Brewers with a 2.32 ERA and a 12-8 record against the division rivals. Aledmys Diaz returned and played well for the Cardinals. Stephen Piscotty may be back in the lineup for the Cardinals, which aids the cause as well. I'm going to play St. Louis on run lines. I'm going to buy runs, and I'm going to hope that the rain stays away and we get this game in, because it looks like a monster St. Louis win to me. Detroit Tigers are going into Tampa Bay again tonight. Justin Verlander's up for Detroit after getting smashed by Cleveland in his last start. He does have a solid record against the Rays with a 3.49 ERA. Pitched a great start against them last year, 8 innings of 1-run ball at the Trop. The Rays do have Brandon Guyer now back from injury, but are still down 2/3 of their starting outfielder and their designated hitter Steve Pearce as well. Detroit have been scoring runs like they're going out of fashion. They've reached double digits in 3 consecutive starts. They will face rookie lefty Blake Snell. Detroit is not an overly left-handed lineup, so that shouldn't trouble them too much against a pitcher who has showed some promise beating Boston last time, but he walks too many batters. I suspect the Rays' struggles will continue for another game here, as they may struggle to generate offense if Verlander moves on from the last start and pitches like he had been, so I'm going to take Detroit on run lines and I might just buy a couple of runs as well. Looking at the Los Angeles Angels and the Boston Red Sox continuing their series at Fenway today, the pitching matchup of Clay Buchholz and Hector Santiago already screams runs. Then we look back and see that Fenway is a nice park for power, particularly left-handed, and there are relatively strong winds forecast to be blowing out to right with warm temperatures today. Almost perfect hitting conditions. Hector Santiago is a fly ball prone pitcher, ranking in the top 5 in fly ball percentage last season in baseball, and he led the American League in home runs allowed. He has already allowed 19 home runs this season. We will assume for this to hit that the Angels bats will have to get to Clay Buchholz early. He has allowed 2 runs and 3 runs in the first inning since returning to the rotation from the from the bullpen, and then going on to allow 3 and 4 runs in total in 5 innings. So it does seem you do have to get to him early. He has struggled with the halos with a career ERA approaching 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the over, which is set at a quite high 10. I think these teams can get there. And I'm also going to buy first inning performance at 21, which is a big number as well, for half a point. The New York Mets and the Chicago Cubs will continue with Game 3 of their series today. The Mets have won the last 2 nights. They will send Bartolo Colon to the hill to face off against Jake Arrieta, the ace of the staff for the Cubs and reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. We know Arrieta is one of the best around, as evidenced by that Cy Young Award last year, beating out the likes of Clayton Kershaw, but he hasn't been as good lately. Far from the dominant pitcher we've come to expect, with a 3.54 ERA across 5 starts in June. That is high for him. He's walked 9 batters in his last 2 starts, and the Mets lineup, which had been scuffling, has suddenly exploded since this series started. Bartolo Colon continues to defy old Father Time with an ERA below 2 over his last 7 starts. He hasn't beaten the Cubs in 6 career attempts, but he hasn't pitched badly with a 3.89 ERA. The odds for this matchup are not reflective for me of the recent performance of the pitchers or the hitting lineups, and it almost makes the Mets a must bet in this game. The final game I want to look at is the San Diego Padres and the New York Yankees. I don't like taking run lines with the Padres. Their offense is far from reliable and hard to trust. That being said, the Yankees are a lineup that struggles against left-handed hitters, with their best hitter, Carlos Beltran, suffering from hamstring trouble and the designated hit spot unavailable as this game takes place in a National League park, he is unlikely that he will figure in this game. So Drew Pomeranz is in a good spot as a lefty starter for the San Diego Padres here. Ivan Nova goes for the Yankees. He's been struggling as well, allowing 14 runs in his last 3 starts. So I am going to take the chance on a run line. The money line is shorter than I would be happy to play here. So we will take the Padres -1.5 to beat these New York Yankees and take the second game of this series following on from their victory last night. There may be a couple more. Keep an eye on the Twitter account, as I always say. There may be, there may not. Who knows? That's all I've got for you today. Best of luck if you're having a play. I'll see you tomorrow. Play ball.